parliamentary panel that was tasked to examine the landmark marriage age bill has now stoked a major row. There's only one woman in the 31-member panel, TMC MP Sushmita Dev. Now, she has written to the panel chief to allow all women MPs to testify before the committee. The Rajya Sabha has 29 women MPs, while Lok Sabha has 81 women MPs. Earlier, she said that more women in the panel would have brought a different perspective and led to a more balanced gender debate. In fact, remember, the bill seeks to increase the legal age of marriage from 18 to 21.
Standing committee which is going to look into the bill about the marriageable age of girls in India is a committee that is actually looks after education, youth, sports and women and child development. Yes, I'm the only woman member of parliament in that committee, but generally it is the parties who suggest the name, so I cannot say why other parties did not give women members of parliament, which Mamata Banerjee did. They could have, because WCD is a part of it. But having said that, I strongly believe that all stakeholders must be consulted. I strongly believe that all women members of parliament, their views matter. They must be heard. And I'm sure that the chairman will allow it, and I will impress upon the chairperson to do the same.
In fact, Shiv Sena MP Priyanka Chaturvedi has written to Rajya Sabha chairman over the gender imbalance in the panel regarding legal age of marriage for women. She questioned how 30 men can decide the fate of 50% of the population of our country.
The reason I have written to him is very simple. The standing committee it has been sent to has overwhelming number of men deciding the future course and life of women. 30 men to 1 woman in this particular standing committee. I think this skewed representation needs to be corrected. We need to have more women in this stakeholder consultation. We need to hear all points of view from the perspective of women who are ultimately going to be impacted by this particular decision. I also feel that considering there's another standing committee which has to do with women empowerment, and this bill was introduced with the intent of empowering women, they should also be involved in this stakeholder consultation to address this skewed gender balance.
Let's in fact bring in some more voices here. We've got Brinda Adige, women's rights activist, who's joining us, as well as Rajalakshmi Joshi, social entrepreneur and political analyst as well. Thank you both of you for joining us on this important discussion here. Brinda Adige, let me come to you first. Your first reaction here, because obviously this itself, the issue itself is quite contentious, and the fact that there is no other woman MP except one on the panel.
You're absolutely right. How can men make any decision where women are concerned? This is raising the marriage age for women. What are the men doing there? Women must be the only ones there when decisions about women and their lives are being made. And if the parliamentary committee does not have that kind of the numbers of women, at least 50%, if not more, because we should have had about 90% women and probably 10% men. But if nothing, 50%. And it is important for political leaders to understand that they must only send representatives who are women from their party for these discussions. No, you cannot have men talking about women's and women's bodies, women's lives, decisions for women, sitting there. You can't have men doing it, irrespective of how sensitive they may be. And we know how sensitive they are or they are not. But we want here women to be represented fully to discuss and decide about women, their ages of marriage, or anything that pertains to women. And it is unacceptable that you have a parliamentary committee discussing anything to do with women by men. We do not want this patriarchal outlook and mindset that seems to be coming out every day. When my Prime Minister talks about women and empowerment, he must understand that women are already empowered and we know what is best for us. And it is your job to listen to women, our views, our perspectives about anything that you might do for women. And there is no other option. You need to have women there. Dismantle this parliamentary committee and bring in women. You have MPs as well as other parliamentarians, bring them in. And if your party leaders are not bringing them in, please inform the party leaders that only women representatives be sent for this committee consultation. Women must make decisions for women.
Yes, yes. Yes, absolutely, Brinda Adige. Rajalakshmi Joshi, if my voice is reaching you, your reaction to this, because obviously, it's extremely important that the view is balanced in this kind of a debate, in this kind of a discussion where this situation is concerned specifically. Your perspective.
Yeah, a very good evening. And I concur a lot with what Ms. Brinda Adige was saying. That, there is, this is a very gross, underrepresentation of women. That is very true. And I only would want to say that, this probably will open doors to, a larger issue. That is the, gross underrepresentation of women in the parliament itself, in politics itself. When it comes to lawmaking, I think, as long as the men will keep making laws, as long as they will keep writing the rules, the perspective of the woman will, it will not be considered, obviously. So we definitely need a lot more women, even into politics itself, not just in the parliament, at every stage, in the panchayats, in the corporations, everywhere, which I feel that, they have been sidelined, and even the women who are already into politics, who are, elected representatives, a lot of them are actually, you could call them dummy representatives also. A lot of times it happens that, because the male member was not able to maybe get a ticket, so his wife gets a ticket and he's the one who actually is the remote control. So, this women empowerment is a farce in a lot of cases. So I think, we cannot actually depend on men to empower us or to make the rules for us or to understand our perspective. So the woman has to definitely stand up for herself and be there, very much a part of the panel. So I definitely agree that there should have been many more female faces in the panel, and who would make a very good decision in this, because there are very sensitive issues in this. It's not just about simply raising the marriage age, because there are a lot of factors that have to be considered about what happens, if there are early marriages, what happens to the children born maybe out of wedlock, or even in early marriages. Would they be, just discarded as illegal? There are a lot of issues which women as well as men.
Yes,
it should be a bad decision in my opinion.
Yes, absolutely. I completely concur with what you're saying. And Brinda Adige, that really seems to be the issue here, because what is baffling and even upsetting is that the realization itself that this is not a balanced panel, this is a contentious issue, important issue that needs to be talked about and needs to have representation from both genders to actually come to a proper conclusion. That it is not realized that this is actually a problem, and it takes the one woman MP on the panel to come out and say we need more representation of women on this.
You're absolutely right. So the question arises now that when they talk about equality, especially gender equality, is it just tokenism and is it just lip service? Because they do not want to listen to women, they do not want women to speak up, and they don't want women to tell them what women want. The patriarchy, misogyny and sexism is so deep-rooted that they have decided when we want to raise the age of women, marriageable age of women, we will have more men because the women may not agree on it. And this is the patriarchy that requires to be shattered. because this kind of thinking is unacceptable in this day and age when 50% and more voters and tax-paying citizens are women. And it is important for the elected representatives to understand that women must come in over there. And we've had one woman MP asking and demanding for this, and this demand should not be sidelined, but must be looked at very carefully and ensured that you get more number of women to participate over here, because again and again, men too need to be empowered to accept that women have the voice and know what is best for them. Listen to us. You do not know as men what is best for us. We know what is best for us. So get empowered, become sensitive enough, and appreciate that we can make decisions for ourselves. So this patriarchy must be removed. This kind of high-handedness that seems to be going on and on must be shattered. And remember that we are not asking for any condescending, benevolent behavior from you. We want you to give us what is constitutionally ours. And that should not be us begging for it all the time, demanding, shouting, and screaming for it all the time. You need to start walking the talk. And you cannot, as elected representatives of this great nation, when you call this nation mother of all democracies, sideline women when issues related to ages of marriage of women are being discussed, that you have only one woman there. Absolutely unacceptable. And I do hope that the elected representatives look at it seriously, dismantle this body and put in more women over there.
Right. Yes, let's hope, in fact, that that does indeed happen. Brinda Adige, Rajalakshmi Joshi, thank you so much for joining us with your perspective.